Hare Krishna, our great fortune to hear once again His Holiness Bhakti Vignaminashak Narsingh Swami Maharaj Ji in Sridham Mayapur, addressing to all the Bhakti-Shastri devotees, and this is day 2 of the course Ishopanishad, and this is 21st of January 2014. This is the part 1 of the day, and we are starting with the topic of invocation. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Good morning. One of these mornings in Mayapur with no sunshine. It was a little cold today. Request you to tolerate. I hope you all have a book with you. Have some kind of text, either hard or soft copy of Ishopanishad, because it is nice to recite the mantras. Right? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes cultivation of the mode of goodness using body, mind and words, and using the words to cultivate the mode of goodness. Part of cultivation of the mode of goodness using our words is regularly reciting the Vedas. Some devotees are encouraging, and Srila Prabhupada also gave the instruction, we should recite one chapter of Bhagavad Gita daily. If you recite one chapter every day, doesn't take a lot of time. You don't have to read everything, but at least the basic text. So let's recite the Ishopanishad mantras. You can see, we said there are 18 mantras. In addition, there's one invocation. Now that invocationary mantra, that is actually not part of the Ishopanishad. The invocation comes from the Yajurveda, and it's the verse directly before the Ishopanishad begins. But it's not directly part of the Ishopanishad. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur and other acharyas have included it within their commentary on the Ishopanishad. So if somebody recites Ishopanishad and they don't recite Om Purnam, not a fault on their part. So there's some kind of meter to be used in reciting the mantras. I'm told that the first 3 verses should be, the first 3 including the invocation, that will be like meter A, and then mantra 4 is a little different, a slightly different meter, that becomes B. And then 5, 6, 7 comes back to A again. Then mantra 8, you see it's like another part is added on at the end, it's in a class on its own. And then 9, 10, up to 15 are all mantra A again. Then mantra 16 is not really a meter, it's more like prose. Then 17 comes back to A, and 18 will be B. So let's try and recite it. It's not a lot, it will just take maybe 10 minutes to recite, not even that. Something I remember as a new devotee, we used to do this every morning. I said we had this book in the very beginning of our movement. It was published 1969. So it was one of the books we did have, and we used to recite every morning. We used to sing the Ishopanishad. If you hear that recording called Radha Krishna Temple album, where George Harrison did a lot of the backing on the music, and the Govinda song, the Hare Krishna mantra, they're all there. It was a collection of songs, devotional songs put together, the first album called Radha Krishna Temple. One of the songs which they sing is the Ishopanishad. And George Harrison's doing the guitar work in the background. Okay, so let's chant. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Issavashyam idam sarvam Yat kincha jagatyam jagat Tena chaktena punjitaha Magridaha kachasiddhanam Korvan evaha karmani Titi vishakchatam samaha Evam tvaena natetosti Na karma lipyate nare Asurya namate loka Antena samata vrita Tamse pratyabhigachanti Eke tatma hanojanaha. Now number 4, a little different. Anicade kamaniso chabdiyo Nayam deva apnuvam purvam arshat Tadavatyo nanate tisat Tasmin apo matarishva sadati. They're coming back to mantra, to meter A again. Tad ejati tanna ejati tad dure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya payataha yastu sarvani bhutani atmani vanupashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vidyakupsyate yasmin sarvani bhutani atma eva bhutvijanataha tatra ko mohakka shoka ekadvam anupashyataha saparyajakshukrammakayam avarnam ashnaviram shudam apapavidam Kavir manisi paribur swayambur yathatyator tan vadadas shasvatibhya samapaya andandhamaha pravishanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuyaiva te samo yaho vidyayam rataha Anyadevahur vidyaya Anyadahura vidyaya Iti susuradiranam Yena tad vichakshakshire Vidyam cha yas Tad vedo bhayam saha Avidyayam rityam tirtva Vidyayam ritam ashnate Andam tama pravishanti ye sambhutim upasate tato bhuya eva te tamo yao sambhutyam rata Nanyadevaho sambhavad anyadahura sambhavad iti sushrumadiranam yena sad vichakshakshire Sambhutim cha vinashyam cha yaskadvedo bhayam saha vinashena mrityam tirtva sambhutyam ritamashnate Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham Tattvam pusam apavano Satya dharmaya dristaye Pusanikashya yamasurya prajapatya Vayuharasmin samuhatejo Yate rupam kauyantam Tatsikashyami yosavaso purusha sohamasmi Uranilam amritam Atedam bashmantam shariram Om kratos smara kritam smara Kratos smara kritam smara Yasman Vishvani Deva Vayuvani Vidvan Vyoranamino Uktim Videma Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Translation: the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because He is completely perfect, all emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is perfectly equipped, whatever is perfect, was produced of the complete whole, is also complete in itself. Because He is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. Okay, it's a very well-known mantra, often chanted and recited. The Gurukula boys, when they go on the elephant procession on the weekends, often they will recite it also, it's included. So we want to have a look at the significance of this invocation mantra. We want to understand fully the meaning. Okay, so Om, Prabhupada describes Om as the complete whole. Yes. In other places, how is it mentioned? In A-U-M. A is who? Krishna. And U is? And M is? Right, the living entity. So like that. So everything is included. Krishna, the Radharani's pleasure potency, and the living entities. Om. Sometimes we find it easier to get people to recite, to chant Om. You know, we often go to yoga centers to give lectures, to introduce them to Bhakti Yoga. And sometimes it can be difficult to get them to chant Hare Krishna mantra. I remember myself, I was teaching one time a yoga course, and I was trying to get the people to chant Hare Krishna, and some of them were coming from Catholic backgrounds, and they really didn't want to chant, you know, but if you ask them to chant Om, they don't have any problem with that. But they have some prejudices about chanting the names of God. But Om is something which is a bit more open and more liberal. It's easier to get people to vibrate. So you can begin with Om, and then you can expand it to Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and gradually try to swing them around, you know. Okay, so Om, the complete whole, and Purnam, perfectly complete. So Om Purnam Ada, meaning what is that which is the complete whole. The complete whole Om is perfect and complete. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the first paragraph, he says here, the complete whole, or the Supreme Absolute Truth, is the complete personality of Godhead. And then Prabhupada goes on to speak about the different realizations of the personality of Godhead. And that we can know the Absolute Truth, we can know the complete whole, and we can know it as Brahman, you can know it as Paramatman, you can know it as Bhagavan. Right? What are some examples we give? Well, yesterday we showed one. We showed the blind man massaging the elephant. Right? The blind men massaging the elephant, they know a part of the elephant. And they're describing it correctly, but they're only describing partially. They're not describing the full picture of the elephant. So in the same way people describe God, in their according to their limited perceptions. Prabhupada gives some examples. What are, yes? Huh? The sun.
Sunlight.
The sunlight is like the
sunlight is like Supreme Brahman.
And
the globe is like
the sun planet is like Paramatma or something. And then the sun god, right? Yeah. So there's the sunlight, the sun planet, and the sun god. Another example. The train, yeah. What happened?
Well, the train, you see a train from a distance, all you see is like a light. Well, so let's say it's at night or something. Well, you see something undifferentiated. You see something you don't know what it is. So it's the personal Brahman. And then you it comes closer and you say, oh, it's a train, and you identify this as one.
Yeah, Prabhupada tells that when they first built trains, when trains first came to India, they'd never seen a train before, so people wanted to see the train. So some people would come and they would just see the smoke in the distance, and they would think, oh, that's the train. And somebody else, people would wait longer and they would see, oh, there's actually a train with carriages, and they would see that and they would think that's the train. And other people would wait till the train actually came in the station and they saw that there's people on the train and there's chairs and there's a driver and everything, and they saw the full detail of the train. So different perceptions, different ways of perceiving the train. Any other example?
Mountain.
The mountain, yeah. From a distance, you see the mountain. You can't see much, you can just see the outline of the mountain. But as you get a bit closer, then you see some trees, you may see even some building or cottage or something is there, or even maybe a stream or something, or some coming down the hill, there's some waterfall, you may see some more detail. And then when you get closer, you see there's actually all kinds of people, living entities, animals and everything. So in this way, one who actually knows the complete whole will know everything. The realization of God includes realization of Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. If one only has realization of the energies of the Lord, that is not complete realization. Just like in the yoga ladder. You were studying in the Bhagavad Gita, the yoga ladder, it was explained to you how bhakti yoga, one who is doing bhakti yoga, he's also understood that he is also a jnana yogi, he's also a karma yogi, he's also a dhyana yogi. He's done all of these preliminary yogas. It's all included within bhakti yoga. And so realization of the complete whole means complete realization of God in all of His different aspects. Our realization should be complete. Srila Prabhupada explains here in the purport, he explains the different aspects of the Supreme, talking about Satchidananda and Vigraha, and Sat is realization of eternity, which means realization of which feature? The Brahman. And then Chit means knowledge. So we realize the Lord is not only as Brahman, but He's all pervading in His Paramatma feature there. And then complete realization is, also about the Bhagavan. So that Prabhupada concludes that thus the complete whole is not formless. Now people will argue that how can God have a form? But Prabhupada from this statement, Om Purnamada, we can argue against such people. The mantra begins, the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. So if He doesn't have a form, people may say, you see, if He has how will the materialists argue? Why should God have a form? They will think, if He has a form, then it must be a form like we have a form. And our form is not perfect. And so you're saying God is not perfect because you're giving him a form. So, what will we say? How will we argue against this? How can we counter this kind of thinking? The materialists are saying God cannot have a form, because if he has a form, it has to be like our form. It has to be imperfect. Our form is imperfect.
Well, first of all, if we have personality, why won't God have personality?
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, we have a personality, so how could we say God doesn't have a personality? And the same is true with form. If we have a form, how can we say God has no form? But what is the argument? His form is not like our form. He has a form, but he has a perfect form. His form is not in the manner which our form is made. Our form is material and full of defects, but his form is perfect. If he doesn't have a form, then he's not complete, because it means we have something which he doesn't. As Prabhupada writes here in the last sentence of the first paragraph, the complete whole must contain the complete whole must contain everything, both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete. So Prabhupada certainly used this verse in preaching a lot. It's a very useful verse to quote to establish the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that he must be complete. And if we say he doesn't have a form, then he's not complete, because we have a form, and if he doesn't have a form, then we have something he does not. But because he has a form, it doesn't mean his form is like our form. It's not on our level. So that complete whole, this is Krishna, and we understand from this Ishopanishad that the Lord has both a form and a formless feature. Both personal and impersonal is included within the Supreme. We cannot limit him. We don't say God is not impersonal. We say he's impersonal and personal. Lord Chaitanya's teaching is achintya beda beda tattva, that he's simultaneously one and at the same time different from everything. So this Ishopanishad invocation is establishing the nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth, that he is perfect and complete. And that completeness implies it has to include all aspects of the Absolute Truth. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. It is all contained within the Supreme. Quoting Srila Prabhupada, if he were formless, or if he were less than his creation in any way, he could not be complete. The complete whole must contain everything, both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete. So, people sometimes argue, they will say, oh, how can God be so cruel? I don't think God could be perfect. You know, people are suffering so much in the world. Some people are so sick, and some people are so poor. They're suffering. There's so much suffering in the world. How can you say God is perfect? How are we going to deal with that? What are you going to say? We're saying here God is perfect and complete. But when we look at the world, do we see everything as being perfect and complete? We see so many people suffering, so many problems are there in the lives of people. So is God responsible for all of this? It's all His creation. He must be responsible. How can we say there's a God? How can you say He's perfect and complete?
God is perfect, but we are not.
Yes. God is perfect. The creation is also perfect. What's the problem? The problem's with us. What is our problem? What is our problem? Incompleteness. Our problem is our incompleteness. That we have not recognized our relationship with Him. And we have not acted according to our position in relation with Him. Incompleteness. One devotee was asking that God is, you're saying everything which comes from God is perfect and complete. But when we look at the world, we see a lot of incompleteness. Although Ishopanishad, we were just reading, everything which comes from the Lord is perfect and complete. But when we look at the world and study the world, we see there's a lot of incompleteness. What is the cause of all this incompleteness? We could compare it. Prabhupada gave a nice example. It was when Prabhupada was in Los Angeles, he came to Berkeley to visit the Berkeley Temple. And when he was on the flight, he took a flight, the pilot spoke to Prabhupada. Maybe you've seen that film? There's a film of it. Because Yadubara and Vishaka were on the flight. And Vishaka was filming the whole thing. And she described it how the pilot was asking Prabhupada about that God is all good. Why is there suffering? Why is there evil in the world? God is all good. So Prabhupada it's a similar question to this. Why is there incompleteness? God, everything which comes from God is perfect and complete. Why is there incompleteness? And so Prabhupada actually spoke about this man when he reached Berkeley, and he told the devotees, he said how this man had questioned him about this. And Prabhupada explained how he answered. He said, just like outside may be bright, although today it's not bright, but in the sunlight, in the light of the sun, everything is bright. But you can turn your back to the sun, and you can remain within your room, you can close the curtains, you can make everything dark. It's up to us. Do we want to be in the sunlight or not? Do we want to turn our back to the Lord, or do we want to face Him? So we have that free will. We can put ourselves in the light, or we can be in the dark. We can be complete. But if we want to be incomplete, Krishna doesn't force us. He gives us that free will, that choice. So our incompleteness is our own doing. We can be complete if we want. We have to know the art of connecting with the Supreme. Is it reasonable? Yeah? Okay? Any question?
You mentioned the invocation comes from one of the Vedas.
The Rig Veda, Yajurveda, is from Yajurveda. It's not directly part of the Ishopanishad. I said, every Veda they have Brahmanyas, Aranyakas and Upanishads. So this invocation is not part of the Upanishad, but it's just before the Upanishad. It's a verse which comes just before the Upanishad, and it's there in the Yajurveda. Okay? So, but there are 18 mantras in the Ishopanishad, but the Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Prabhupada, I'd put this invocation mantra.
Can also, can we use this explanation, for example, if God is everything, then He must contain also incompleteness. Completeness and incompleteness is actual completeness, so to speak.
Well,
because if you just limit Him into completeness, then
well, we can say there is also incompleteness. Incompleteness is there, certainly possible. We don't deny that there can be incompleteness. Yeah, that's according to every living entity, how they use their free will. Just what is darkness? Darkness is the absence of light. It's the absence of light. So what is incompleteness? It's the absence of completeness. When we're not connected with the Supreme, then there's incompleteness. So it's the absence of completeness.
So one can say that God actually permitted the absence of completeness.
Well, certainly He gives us free will. Yeah, He gives us that choice. He doesn't force us. But it's not that there has to be always incompleteness, but every living, just like there doesn't have to be a prison house, but there are criminals, and there's a need for a prison. The government have to spend money on maintaining prisons. They don't like it, but they have to have it. Yeah? Okay, let's go ahead. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. The Dham, Prabhupada describes the Dham as being this phenomenal world. The world is complete. And Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Udachyate meaning everything which comes from Him is also complete. All emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. We want to look at this completeness, the complete arrangements which are there within the world. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is complete. Purnam, perfect and complete. So what is produced from the complete whole? This phenomenal world. The world consisting of 24 elements comes from the Lord. And we want to consider how this world is perfectly complete. What are some examples within? Nowadays there's a lot of work going on in the field, what they call intelligent design. Right? People are looking at designs in nature. And there was one book brought out by the devotees in Hungary, I think. I saw one book with different collection of photographs of different species of life and showing the designs which were there within their different bodies and different systems, indicating great intelligence. And intelligent design indicates there's some controller, some designer behind it. Maybe you've seen that PowerPoint. There's one PowerPoint which we have, which we often like to show new people. It shows pictures of a building. They say, who built it? Somebody. There's a designer, and they show pictures of motor cars, and they say there's somebody built it. There's somebody built this. Some architect. Somebody built it. There's a computer. Somebody designed it. And then they show a picture of some animals and birds, and who designed them, And they show in one PowerPoint presentation, they show the design. They show the aircraft and the bird, and very similar in their design. And who designed them? Who designed the aircraft? Oh yeah, man designed the aircraft. Who designed the bird? Oh, nobody designed, just by chance, they say. And so then they show a submarine, and then they show some big dolphin or some big fish which can go up and down. Who designed the submarine? Man designed it. And who designed the fish? Nobody designed it. Like this, they show the foolishness of people who claim that there's no design, there's no intelligence behind the material world. But the more we study this world, the more we look closely at the material world, the more we can understand there is some great intelligence behind the world. And one of the things we want to do this morning is to consider some of the arrangements within nature to show how this world is perfectly equipped as a complete whole. We ask you, give some examples from nature of the completeness of this world. Why don't you go into groups for a little while and do some thinking about this and see what you can come up with together. We'll give you 5-10 minutes to discuss together. See if you can come up with some ideas of some examples from nature showing the completeness of the world. Can you do that? Just make a group here. Here's 3 men here. Make one group. You can do one group. Okay? And then 4 men at the back. Okay? And then 3 more here. And 3 more. 4. Yeah. Okay, just meet together. One group here. Just give me 10 minutes. Think about it. Come up with some example. If you want, you can draw pictures. You can take a piece of paper and you can draw a picture. That would be even better. Okay, one group's drawing a picture here. If you want a piece of paper, just take one there. We don't want to take too long on this, so if you can finish off quickly, and then we want to hear from some of the groups. Each group can have a spokesman.
Okay, so we would like to, you could, somebody from this group would like to speak? Let's hear your example. Okay, Prabhu, go ahead. Everyone quiet, please.
We just made a lot of examples. That's how this world is complete. And one of the examples is the food chain in the world. How it's like the sequence of the food chain. For example, an animal eats another insect. This insect eats food, and if you take something from that chain, the whole structure of the food chain can collapse, and we can have problems. For example, Einstein said that whenever we have scarcity of bees, that's when the humanity maybe comes into problem actually of existence. Just one tiny change in the whole food chain can destroy the ecosystem. That's how the food chain is completed. That's one example.
Okay.
And another example is how the child gets born, and it's in the womb of mother, and how it develops there, how it gets protected, and how it gets actually born. So who created all this? This system is already in the nature. We didn't do anything to it. It's just there. And that's a pretty perfect system in order to raise a child. We thought it's quite perfect. And also there's examples that mathematicians have now discovered this Fibonacci number.
What's that?
Fibonacci number, that's like a number of harmony which exists in many different places of the world. If you look there, you will find it. If you look there, you will find it. You will find it in sunflower. Yeah, how seeds of the sunflower are oriented. Their positioning in the sunflower. So it's according to mathematical formula actually. And that formula can be found in many places. That's just one of the
Pineapple. And even your body, like these parts of the figure.
Yeah.
The formula is 1 + 1, 2. So you add the previous number, like 3, 8, 3, 5, 13, 21, 35. So it's really like the carte d'abondance, what is that? Anyway, it's exponential.
So it looks, when you look at anything which contains this number, which is sort of programmed, it looks harmonious. So you see the completeness of the creation.
Okay. Okay, so you've given 3 examples here. We've had, first of all, the food system, the dependency of one living entity on another for food, and that every living entity is provided with food. Prabhupada would often talk about how the elephant needs to eat kilos every day, but they get their food. And the tiny ant has to eat a few grains of sugar. They're also getting their food. Somehow the system, the nature of this world is that every living entity is provided for, that there's food for everyone. And then you gave the other example about the nature of the birth, how the child within the womb develops, how nature arranges for the child to live within the womb for several months, and then coming out of the womb, how all of these things are done by the arrangement of the material body. The mother doesn't do anything, she just carries the child. But everything is arranged by nature. The development of the body is all going on naturally, automatically. Prabhupada quotes that verse, Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate Swabhavaki Jana Balakriyacha. That the Lord has inconceivable potencies and they're all functioning automatically, naturally. The child develops in the womb automatically, naturally. Mother's not doing anything, father's not doing anything, just by nature the child is developing. And then he mentioned finally about the different plants and how there's mathematical design within everything, the structure of the different seeds and everything. The sunflower plant, he gave the example, the different seeds on the plant are arranged and according to some mathematical progression. Okay, so thank you very much. These are some nice examples. Let's have next group. What is your name, Prabhu? Nityananda Ram. Jai.
You said to draw examples, so we drew examples. And these are all connected to nature. The earth, even without the animals, the humans on it, the atmospheric, water, and biological systems itself is a self-sustaining world. It's perfect unto itself. In fact, it's self-correcting. Even with the explosion of volcanoes and meteors hitting the planet, it will self-correct itself. And also, this entire environment is capable of producing food for animals and humans on its own. But with the help of human beings, we can feed ourselves using this complete environment. Even if animals come and go, such as dinosaurs, which may or may not have been of benefit to some species of man from somewhere, we have other animals that are, as you can see, both of these species of animals have existed for a very long time, and they are living off of this self-contained planet and reproducing in such a way without man's interference that it's a completeness of the entire environment that they're within. They feed directly off of the earth. They drink the water from the earth. The earth is self-contained, and it provides for them. Even when the cow comes along, man is able to harvest from the cow milk products and add to the biological diversity of the earth with the plants that we take from the earth and the self-containedness from the cow. So we're able to actually use the animals without taking their meat and use them as a way for us to self-sustain. And then, of course, we have human beings, we have human beings who are also self-contained, much like the animals are, that we reproduce on our own and we live directly off of this environment. So this entire environment is a complete whole environment for the self-contained existence of life on Earth. Even without life on Earth, the planet is within itself self-sustaining.
Any questions on that? No, I think, yes, quite nice presentation. I like that.
This is for sale for 500 rupees.
We are a fearless artist in our
Okay, can we have another group? Yes, please come. Nice to see you use the microphone, I think. Use the mic.
Hare Krishna. This is just a rough sketch. As you see here, the sun first to get the sun god. The sun god gets command from Krishna. We get a sun globe. It sends light. We get light, we get heat. And the light hits the soil. And all the rivers, oceans, even the urine, we urinate, they get evaporated. It evaporates, it goes back to the cloud and form rain. And when the rain falls on the plants get to grow. And when the plants grow, we get, when the plants grow, the plants give us carbohydrates, or the plants give us CO2, oxygen, no, O2. Then, when the plants give us oxygen, we breathe this oxygen, and in turn we give them CO2, carbohydrates, or carbon dioxide for them also to sustain their lives. And it goes on continuously, and that's how another example of the trees. The trees grow, they give us plants, and we eat the plants, we get energy to serve Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
The trees grow, they give us, what do the trees grow? The trees grow, that will give what?
They give us fruits, and we eat the fruit to offer them to Krishna.
Okay, trees grow, you get fruits and flowers, you can offer them to Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You get leaves, everything can be used for Krishna. Okay, thank you. We got another group still? Can come up? Please come. Maybe come over to this one, Prabhu, just come over this side. Put it up here. Yeah, because the mic won't reach there. Maybe it will. Oh, you're okay. Bikram. Okay.
Hare Krishna. We've come up with the same sort of as everybody else really, but I thought I would add some math to it because I studied a bit of math when I was at school, and there's 9 digits. This is how perfect we are. We've got 9 digits on our hands. Our thumbs come together so it completes as a 9. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16. You can't have 1 and 6, so 1 and 6 is 7, goes down to 7. 7 plus 7 is 14, 1 and 4 is 5, takes you back. So this is the sign of DNA, and this is the sign of the universe, and the sign of everything in the universe, which is in the math form. Did you understand that? Yeah. And we started thinking about leaves dropping and the roots taken up as nourishment, which feeds the insects, which of course goes on with the animals eating each other and feeding the wildlife. And we also had the devotees, Krishna and Radha, and paying obeisances to, and the river and the ocean.
You want to say something? And the complete, personally I think we are the one who have exploited this material nature which was complete when it was created, and now we are blaming Krishna or the God or anyone who is following whichever God, and they say because of them we are suffering. But the example of that, the moving of the hand, we are the immediate cause and Krishna is the ultimate cause. If there was no sun, he is the fire in digestion, means fire. He is the fire in digestion. If there, because of sun, our digestion system is good, and because of moon, we are getting juice in the vegetables. So how can we say that it is not complete? It is indeed complete. It is us who has exploited this material nature, and that's why we think it is incomplete. Thank you. Any question, please? Sorry? This one? Yeah, this one, I don't know.
It's vortex math. It's about the vortex You've got it in every structure in plant life, and the DNA obviously is in every structure within us, and it's in the universe because the universe is a disk with spiral vortex actions. So everything in the universe is based on this sort of mathematics. The 6 and the 3 always goes into 9, so 9 is the kind of magic number as well. So 3, 6, 9.
108 is also 9.
Yeah. And the human harmony is 4, 3, 2. Is it harmony? I forgot the 4, 3, 2. That goes down to 108 as well, and that's also based on your chakras, which is similar to the planets: Sun, Mars, Mercury, Earth, Venus, all those. So it's all complete in that sense.
What's the source? Is it Chinese or is it Vedic or?
This? I'm unsure whether it's from Vedic knowledge. I'm not sure about that. This an American. He left America because some big bosses wanted to kill him, probably, and he came up with this. But maybe Nikola Tesla, the engineer back in, again, the demons wanted to kill him as well and shoot him down for giving out free electricity. So this is what it's from. If you apply this to magnets and copper, you'll get free electricity. I've tried it. Hare Krishna.
So we can save our electricity bills here. Okay. We got some. Anybody left who didn't make a presentation? Do we have another group? Yeah? Okay.
So, it's okay, I don't
Well, we need to hear though.
No, I'll be okay, I'm like...
Okay, then speak out loud.
No, it's okay, I'll be fine. Thank you.
The nature.
The cycle of water, the water, it's always the same water. It's the ocean water is evaporated by the sun and stored into the clouds, and then pouring on the mountain tops and going in the streams and rivers so that people can drink the water. It's distilled by nature in its completeness, and it goes back, eventually goes back through the rivers, I don't know, the network of rivers and streams go back to the ocean, and then it's the same water, so it's complete, and there's no new water. There's a scientific principle that says, nothing is created and nothing is lost, right? It's just the energy transforms itself. There's nothing newly created, and nothing that disappears out of nowhere, and so it's completed itself. It just transforms itself. Of course, the food chain and the reproduction of species, whether it be mankind or animals, or like the seeds, trees, plants. So it completed itself. In one of our Prabhupada was saying that transcendentalist, he will have a very deep meditation on the absolute truth just by looking at a seed of an apple, a piece of fruit. And he said, oh, here's a big apple tree inside this little seed. He sees it from the eyes of knowledge, of course. But this is another example of a thing being complete. And photosynthesis, so the light of the sun, and the tree catches the light, and the leaves, it produces I don't know all the details. And that's why the leaves become change color, at least in my country or in America, in Northern. Starting September, October, the leaves, they change their color, become red and yellow because there's less light during the day, haven't done that, so.
Yeah, okay. The leaves, they change their color, then they fall off the trees.
Yeah, they fall off the trees, and there's terms for this. I don't spend time learning these things, but somebody was into botanics and things like that. There's different names for the layers of, because there's insects that eat, and
Some insects will eat the leaves.
well, yeah.
Some birds will use the leaf to make nests, to make their homes.
Yeah, and it protects the earth also. There's different layers of, just like...
Yeah, and they provide fertilizer for the soil.
Yeah, like this, and fossilizing and all these things. And just like the skin, there's different layers of skin.
Okay.
So...
Okay, fine, thank you. So, this group, somebody can give a quick presentation?
So we didn't want to draw a picture because it might throw off the brahmacharis. The first one we thought about was the breast milk, how it's perfect, like a baby can be sustained on breast milk for up to 3 years. Some mothers even try to do that. So this woman's body is completely set up to feed a baby for up to 3 years. It's pretty incredible.
Cool. Another thing we thought of was how the human body is suited for a vegetarian diet. It's complete. So there's a few things in that. One is that in comparison to a carnivore, the intestinal tract of a human is at least 12 times longer than that of a carnivore. The idea is that when somebody eats meat, because it decays so fast, it should be in and out of the system, like ASAP. In terms of the strength of the stomach, the hydrochloric acid that's contained in the stomach, that's 10 times weaker than that of a carnivore's. Again, because it takes a lot of energy to break down meat, sort of centered products like that. The particular teeth structure that we have for a carnivore is sort of it works up and down, so it works like jaws. Whereas for the human, who's similar to a herbivore, it actually grinds. It works in a horizontal fashion because it's used to grind vegetables like that. And then, just eating meat in itself, eating vegetables, is not taxing for the body. It's not aging. At least I've noticed some places in sort of near where I live, people are looking a lot older. You have teenagers that basically look like full-grown adults because the eating of meat is actually aging and taxing for the body. Like that accelerates our aging. So the human body is a digestive. One of the systems, the digestive system, is very much complete with a natural vegetation that's provided by the earth.
Okay, thank you very much. Example was there? The first one about the breast milk from the mother. The Prabhupada also gives that example actually. Here's one which Prabhupada gives. Although the ocean water so much, when there's scarcity of water, you have to take help of Krishna. He'll evaporate the water. And Prabhu also mentioned this. He said about how the water it's the same. It's complete. We're not getting any new water. It's all the same water, but it's being recycled. He'll evaporate the water. He'll make it cloud. Initially, it's in the sea. It's salt water. Then the salt water is evaporated into the clouds, and then when it falls down, then it becomes sweet, right? Because it's carried in the cloud. The water from the cloud is not salt water. Initially, the water from the sea is salt water, but that salt water is evaporated, becomes it's transported in the clouds, and then the clouds come and they pass over the mountains and they drop the water in the form of rivers. And the river water, of course, is not salt water. The river water flows into the sea. The sea water is salt. Otherwise, you cannot touch. So Prabhupada, everything is complete. Like the water is complete. But there's enough water for everyone. And then, about the mother and her breast milk. As soon as the child is born, immediately there's profuse milk in the breast of the mother. That is the nature's arrangement. Before birth, the food, the child immediately require the mother's breast. There's milk supply immediately. Before the child is born, there's no milk flowing from the breast of the mother. But as soon as she has the baby, with the birth of the baby, immediately the milk begins to flow. What did the mother have to do something for the milk to flow? No, it's nature's arrangement. It's the gift of God, the perfect plan that He's providing for everyone. As Prabhu said, for the first 3 years a child can just live on the breast milk of the mother. And very healthy for a child who's had breast milk for 3 years. Nowadays a lot of mothers, even they somehow they have to give canned milk, dry milk and these things. Not so healthy, not so good. But this is nature's arrangement. When we follow nature's plan, then there's perfect cooperation with nature. Everything is provided. I was talking about design within nature, how nature is perfect and complete. Prabhupada gave some examples about the design. He talks about the finger. He said within the finger there's also bone. It's not just skin. If there was just some skin there, we wouldn't be able to grasp anything. We wouldn't be able to hold anything. But because there's a bone there within the finger, then we can use it. This is nature's design. That they put the bone right through down each finger, that we can pick things up, we can hold things. Then Prabhupada also talks about the design of the mouth of the hog, the pigs. They have a special type of mouth that they can go and eat stool. They have that nature's design. And then also Prabhu was speaking about humans, how we're meant to be vegetarian, but similarly the tiger, he has his particular teeth and his particular design of mouth and claws and everything. It's all arranged for eating meat, for eating flesh. You're not going to get not so easy for the tiger or lion or something to just eat some rice or eat chapati, They have to eat meat. Their body is designed in that way. I think even the cat and the dog, they're kind of designed in that way. Cats practically, they have to eat some fish or meat or something. Very difficult for them to be vegetarian. Their bodies are designed in that particular way.
Hairs and nails. Hairs and nails. That's also arrangement. The hairs and nails in the fingers.
What is the arrangement for?
Nature's like completeness. You cut and again it grows and automatically.
So why are they there? Just so that they can look beautiful, is it? You have hair so that you can look more attractive. Women can look better or something, they have hair. Nails, they can paint them and you can scratch. What are they for? What's the purpose? Just why is it? Why do we shave our heads then if hairs? I'm questioning you. Can you answer?
But what I feel like this is the completeness that we are relating with, that how it grows and that's the arrangement automatically.
Yeah, that's like one of the waste products of the body. The body produces waste, and so the hair and the nails, that's also waste. We have to always trim, cut, and shave these things. Don't really require them. It's like a waste product coming.
It's protection from the sun. Protection from the sun. Your hair
protect you from the sun?
Yeah. Your hair does that. And my guru got skin cancer on his head and going on food distribution for 2 years, without covering his head. So I think the hair definitely protects your head from the sun rays.
Okay, hair protect you from the sun. Maybe one reason. But certainly the heat comes out the body from the head and the feet. The heat, that's why so many people, you're wearing hats, to keep the heat in the body, because a lot of the heat, it comes out from the top of the head and the feet. So the hair helps to keep the heat, some heat in the body. But other than that, I don't know too much reason why we have nails and hair. Other than, to become more enamored by the material body. So, anyway, these things are there within nature.
For animals, if they have hair, it makes them more warm in winter. So that's one of them.
Oh, the hair makes them, keeps some heat within the body, keeps the body warm in the winter time. Yeah, that could be there, certainly. They have a good...
There's, I don't know who, in the Krishna book there's a description, I don't know if it's some character in the Krishna book, he talks about the body, he says it's just a bag of flesh and bone, and to make it attractive and more beautiful, then there's hair and things like that.
Yes. Yeah, I think Rukmini is talking like that to Krishna at one point. She's talking about the other kings, how they had all these bodies which were just covered with hair and bones and matter, but Krishna's body was transcendental and pure.
First, everything we're discussing, for us, makes us think, wow, God is so incredible. That's what we think. For everything we said, like a person who doesn't believe in God, for them it's almost like, wow, evolution, the process of natural selection is so incredible, how efficient it works over the last millions of years. So I don't want to get too much into it. How do you deal with that just on a basic level with something you're teaching?
How do we deal with that on a basic level? Well, we were mentioning that there's design. Recognizing that there's design there, it indicates there should be, a designer. Where there is some elements of design and intelligence, it indicates a person. And I think it's very unreasonable for somebody to say that, there's no person, that it's just evolution, it's just chemicals. We don't see chemicals combine and react just on their own. But it takes some intelligent person to take them to combine them and produce reactions, to produce some chemical combinations. Behind nature, there's a person. That is the point we want to bring out to people, that where we see control, where we see design, means there's a controller, there's a designer, there's some personality behind it. It's not just by chance. We give the example, you can take pieces of a watch. In the old days they had these old watches with wheels, different gears and little, spindles and things. You could take the watch apart and take all the pieces and throw it up in the air. Are you just going to get a watch immediately? You grab all the pieces in your hand and it will be a watch? No, it takes some intelligence to assemble the different parts together. So within this material world, we see a lot of design, we see a lot of arrangements. And these designs are all meant to impress upon us that there must be some personality behind this world. There is some intelligent being. It is not by chance. We talk about the planets, how the planets are moving so carefully in orbit, and everything is arranged systematically. Every day we know what time the sun is going to rise, we know what time the sun is going to set. There's some system, we know according to the calendar when the winter's coming, when it's going to get cold. We know when the rainy season is going to come. At least in India, this it's quite common knowledge. People know this is a dry season, this is a cold season. And then later on it will get hot, and then the rain will come, the monsoon period, and after the monsoon, then the autumn comes. So people are aware that there's a lot of regulation within the world. And this regulation indicates there's some personality behind it, controlling it. But people say this is just evolution, it's just where do we see that? You can have Prabhupada said, you can have an aeroplane sit there on the field. It can sit there for millions of years, thousands of years, will never fly. You need a person to come along and fly the plane. You need a person to take the keys and turn on the ignition and start operating the machine. It doesn't just run mechanically. A machine means that there has to be a machine operator. You don't see machines just working on their own. Every machine, there'll be some operator behind it. So nature also is like a machine. Right? How is it described in Bhagavad Gita? Yantra Rudrani Maya, Yantri, the machine, seated on the machine of the material nature. And so there is a personality behind this world. We want to impress this on people. And this is why Prabhupada, one of the reasons why Prabhupada has commented on this Ishopanishad, because these verses are particularly appropriate for us to understand the personality behind nature. Another problem is also, generally people will argue there's not enough. But actually we're saying, no, there is enough. There's enough for everyone. People are saying the world is not perfect. But we're saying, no, it is perfect. It's how you use it. You don't know how to live in the world, so you're saying the world is not perfect. But when you live properly, when you act properly, then there's enough. There's enough for everyone. But, people are getting their economic prizes, they're coming up with all these theories, and it's all based on the theory that there's not enough. We have to have more. All of their principles behind farming and agriculture and the meat industry and everything, it's all based on the theory there's not enough for people. The world is overpopulated, we have to control the population. All of this stuff, it's all nonsense. When we live properly according to the plan of the Lord, there's enough for everyone. And we will see this. And so nature's arrangement, nature has provided for everyone. We may have problems managing, we may have problems providing, but Krishna has no problem providing for everyone. His arrangements are perfect. Okay, we'll take a break for Gayatri and we'll start after Gayatri.
So Hare Krishna, we are starting with part 2 of day 2 on 21st of January 2014 with Ishopanishad by His Holiness Bhakti-Shastri Narsingh Swami Maharaj in Sridham Mayapur on Bhakti-Shastri course. Hare Krishna.
So, we're talking how the material world, this material world is a perfect creation. And how nature has been perfectly designed. There's perfect arrangement within the nature. Everything is there. I was reading one of Prabhupada's lectures. He was talking about how, he said, just like sex desire, how it comes in a particular position, sex desire is developed, and immediately the nature arranges in this way. There's creation in all the different species. The sex desire is there, and that results in the creation. So this is also nature's arrangement for the perpetuation of life on the planet. Without that sex desire, there would be no perpetuation. Life would be finished. But nature has arranged all of this. There's so many different ways. There's indications of a creator behind this world. We want to encourage this appreciation for this text, that there is a person, there is intelligence, there is an arrangement. It's not just chance. This is the materialists. They say, oh, it's just evolution, it's just by chance it happened. No, it's nature's arrangement. In the purport, Prabhupada writes here, he said, this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. 24 elements, of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation, are arranged to produce everything necessary for the maintenance and sustenance of this universe. Yeah, everything is there. The oil is there for the heating and for transportation. It's all provided. Water is provided, the fuel is provided, the food is provided. It's only ignorance to think that we're doing it. I'm doing it. We have done all of this. Remember that there was the devotees were on a morning walk in Texas one time, in Dallas, and the devotees were pointing. There was one man over there, some name was Hunt, and he had a big oil company, very rich man, multi-millionaire, and they were saying to Prabhupada, we want to preach to that man, Prabhupada. We want to try and bring him to Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada said, oh really? What are you going to preach to him? How are you going to preach to him? So then devotees were a bit taken aback. They were not really prepared. And one devotee said, well, we'll tell him it's not the body. And Prabhupada said, you think he'll be interested? You think he'll accept that? He said, well, another devotee said, we'll tell him to surrender to Krishna. He said, you think he'll be ready for that? Prabhupada had the answer though. Prabhupada said, you should tell him he is a thief. That he has stolen what is not his property. And he will have to suffer as he does not recognize the proprietorship of this planet. That everything in this world is created by the Lord. It's meant for him. It's not meant for our gratification. So everything is there for the maintenance and sustenance. It's simply the illusion, the ignorance to think there's not enough. There is enough. And this is an important point we'll be bringing out today and tomorrow. That there is enough. The world is perfect. It is complete. There's nothing lacking. What is lacking? Prabhupada said, his Guru Maharaj, Om Vishnupad Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada would often say, there is no scarcity of anything in the world except Krishna consciousness. That is the problem. That is what is lacking. Apart from that, there's no scarcity. No other unit in the universe need make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. There's no other unit. We don't need to import something from some other planet. Everything is there. Everything is provided. We see different parts of the world, there are different crops, different things are harvested, different things are growing. There's an arrangement everywhere for the maintenance. Of course, some parts of the world, very cold, ice. Go up there and you go up to Russia, Siberia, places like that, or Canada in the winter time also. It's very cold, you're not going to do much farming there in the winter time. But there's arrangement that if you choose to live there, there is an arrangement. I know in China, for example, in the winter time, it's also very cold, northern China, and they will harvest the cabbage and they will simply store it outside the house. They don't need refrigerators. It's already cold. It's already very cold. You just stick it out and they will pile it up. They will have big piles of cabbage and different vegetables which they've harvested, and they can store them outside. And gradually they use them, cook them over the winter time. Everything is provided. The bears in Russia, they have many bears. They live. How do they live in the winter time? They'll find something. They get inside a tree. They go inside a tree and they can they'll go into hibernation in the tree. They're able to protect themselves. They find some home. And then when the summer comes, then they go to the rivers and they will catch the fish. They will catch salmon from the rivers. How do they catch them? Nature has provided the skills that they can somehow grab them out of the water. That they can remain in the freezing cold water. They have the body somehow that they can go in the icy water and they will stay there for hours without moving. Let the fish come, and then when the fish come, quickly they'll grab it. That's their food.
What about Africa? There are so many children, starving and everything happening. Is that also because of lack of nutrition? So they're not living very sinfully.
Well, Africa, places like that, there is a lot of land. There is a lot of land which can be cultivated. Africa is like a paradise. When they brought the Indians, when they came out of Gujarat and they brought them from the desert of Kutch and they brought them to Africa, they came to Kenya and Uganda, wow, they were in bliss. They thought this is a paradise. They'd never seen such good land for farming. They could grow everything. And they do grow a lot of fruits and vegetables there. And in fact, a lot of vegetables are imported into London from Africa, from these parts of the world. So there is an opportunity for them to grow and to use the land and to live off the land. It can be done. They have to be willing to do the work. Of course, there are places where there's a lot of hardship. Often the hardship is created by man. It's mankind himself who interfere and create the hardship. Mahatma Gandhi, there was a saying, Mahatma Gandhi said, there's enough for everyone's need, not enough for their greed. So because of greed, because of people exploiting one another, there are problems. But when people live together, cooperate harmoniously, then there's enough for everyone. So another example of the complete nature of this world, the human form of life. We were seeing also here, there are diagrams, different species, different animals, and the human form of life. Prabhupada writes here in the invocation, the human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living being. And it is obtained after evolving through 8,400,000 species of life in the cycle of birth and death. So the human form of life has the highest consciousness. The other forms of life, the cow, his consciousness is, where is grass? You know, the cow is thinking, where's my grass? He wants to eat grass. The lion also, his consciousness is also animal consciousness. The animal's consciousness means eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's the limit of their consciousness. But the human form of life is the complete manifestation of consciousness. In the human form of life, we can understand some higher purpose to life. So this is important for people to understand also.
In this connection of the complete manifestation of consciousness, a human being who is disabled, his ability to function, even though he has consciousness, is still restricted. Then how do we say that a human form is a complete manifestation? So does this statement apply only to normal beings or?
Someone's suffering some physical disability, but that's not affecting his consciousness. The physical disabilities don't restrict his thinking. It doesn't mean he cannot understand how to make proper use of the human life. Even though he may be incapacitated physically, he can still understand, he can still hear, he can still perfect his life. You know, there were great devotees who were blind, Bilvamangal Thakur, Surdas, they were blind, but it didn't restrict them in their service to the Lord. Yeah?
The other day, I saw like a man who was mentally disabled. He was running around like, madman. He was drooling all over his t-shirt. But when he saw a garland on me, he immediately thought Mahaprasad, and he came up to me and said, "Give me the garland." And then he wanted to hug me, but he was totally filthy. But still, he had this consciousness, Mahaprasad. But he mentally was totally retarded.
Mentally, he was retarded, like a madman.
Yeah.
But he still had respect for prasadam, for the flower prasadam of the Lord. Okay, that's nice. At least he still had some appreciation for higher things in life. Not everybody may be like that. Not every madman may have that kind of appreciation. But the one you met had that regard. Yeah.
So the other question closely related to this, Maharaj, is the soul as such has got a human form, and when it is put in the body of a plant or an animal that still has a human form, means it's restricted because it's put in a human form, and when it comes to a human body, the soul is a complete manifestation. I am able to experience that the soul is also got a human body, the outer covering is also a human body. Is that how we say that it's a complete manifestation? Yeah. I mean, a tree's body, even though I have a soul, is still human. It can't function.
Soul is not human. That's wrong. To think that the soul is human or the soul is a tree, no. The soul is spirit, the spiritual particle. It contains the consciousness, our spiritual consciousness. But that consciousness is restricted according to the body. Just like the spirit soul the example is there in the Bhagavatam of Jad Bharat. The Bharat Maharaj became a deer. So when he was in the deer body, he could remember his previous life as a human being, but still he's in the deer body. He can't actually engage in all the things which he was doing as a human being, because he has the deer body. We may have a human body, and next minute we have the dog body, immediately you have to bark. In the dog's body you're going to behave like a dog. In the tree body you have the tree, you have to function through the tree body. Nala Kuvera and Manigriva were in the tree body. They were Arjun trees, they were standing there. They couldn't do anything. So the consciousness is restricted by the body. But you can't say, oh, I have a human soul. No, that's not true. We have a spirit soul, not a human soul. We have a human body. We take bodies from these 84 lakh species of life. So according to the body, we have that particular consciousness. The consciousness is going to be restricted.
There are in every planet there are 8,400,000 species, so in every...
On every planet, I don't know about that. There are species of life on other planets also. It may not be that there are 8,484 lakh species on every planet. I don't know about that. Yeah. We know there are 84 lakh species of life, but I don't know that it's restricted to one planet. No. I don't know about that, no. There are other planets, there's life all over the creation, so different species of life are there. And we may find that some species of life are there on higher planets, they're not there on this planet. Just like the Gandharvas and so on, such people in the higher planets, the demigods and so on. So these species are different, but they're included within the 84 lakh species. Okay. So Purnashya Purnamadaya, Purnashya Purnamada, even though so many complete units emanate from him, Purnam eva vashishyate, he remains the complete balance. We give the example, right? Well, different from the material world. Here's a piece of paper. We take a piece of paper, we tear it up, right? What happened to the piece of paper? Huh? Original form is gone, right? Yeah. So different. Krishna is not like that. This world is not like that. Krishna is perfect and complete. Even though so many complete units emanate from him, he's still complete. We don't see that example. This piece of paper is not complete anymore. So Prabhupada talks about spiritual mathematics. 1 minus 1 is 1. Yeah, Krishna, and you take away everything from Krishna, and still is Krishna. It's still 1. So 1 minus 1 is 1. And 1 plus 1, Krishna plus everything is still 1. It's still Krishna. Yeah. So this is spiritual mathematics. The Mayavadis don't say like that. What did the Mayavadis say? What will the how will they speak about the world? Huh? Brahman Satyam Jagat Mithya. Yeah, the Brahman is truth and the world is false. So, how does that relate to what we're talking about?
We're saying that the world is complete and perfect because it comes from the complete and perfect. It's not that it's temporary, it's not false, it's temporary.
Well, we're saying that. What did the Mayavadis say?
The Lord loses his form after he expands, and there's no form left after everything comes out.
Yeah, right. Krishna is transformed into the material world. That everything is coming from the Brahman and is becoming this world. That Krishna is transformed. He's not. They think Krishna is a manifestation of the impersonal Brahman. They don't see that everything is complete. They think he must be affected. They have their theory of transformation. That what has come from the Brahman, and you have everything being created in this world, and so that Brahman must be affected, it must be changed. But It's not like that. It's purnam eva vashishyate. Whatever is remaining, that is also complete. Even though so many things come from it, it's still complete. It would be nice to have a bank account like that, wouldn't it? Could you imagine you have a bank account, and you go and you take money out, you keep taking money, and it's the same. It's still, great, Yeah, that's a bank account, a spiritual bank account, right? And so we want that.
Krishna is complete. He's a complete point. He's a part of it. So my question is, from where the jivas are emanating from the body of Krishna, personal form, or from Brahman? How we have created?
Well, we're eternal. We're eternal. We're always existing. We're eternal beings, right? Ajo nityam shashvatoyam purano najayate mriyate vaskajati. For the soul, there's never birth nor death. Sometimes Prabhupada would give the example that God created the world, creates the living entities for His pleasure. Just like a father has a child for his pleasure, he expands himself, he has children, he enjoys the children. In the same way, the Lord is the Father of all living entities, and He creates the living entities for His pleasure. Sometimes Prabhupada would give that example, but we also understand that for the soul, there's no birth, no death. There's no beginning. Souls are eternal. We're always existing. Where we came from, how we got in the material world, that is a whole other thing. Where we fell from, that's a $64 million question. And you can discuss about that a lot, Different people have different arguments. Prabhupada says one thing, and sometimes he says another. But he said, generally, this is the hardest thing to understand, how we came into this world. Is to try to understand the easiest thing. The easiest thing is how to get out. When you get a disease, if somebody fires an arrow, you get hit by an arrow or something, you just think, God, get this out. Get it out. You don't worry about how you got it, or who did this, you just want to get the arrow out. Somebody fires a bullet at you or something, you want to get the bullet out. And so we're in this material world, we should understand how to get out. Don't worry too much about how we got in here. That's, you can debate about that. There's different people have different theories, different things are said.
We're saying that material world is complete and Krishna is complete. So if material world is emanating from Krishna, that's the logic behind it. And but if Krishna is eternal, everything which emanates from Him should also be eternal. So why is the material world eternal?
Well, material energy is eternal, but it's transformed. The material energy is eternal, but it undergoes transformation. Just like our body undergoes transformation. Alright? But it's eternal. The elements are eternal. It's Krishna's Prakriti. Let's go ahead. Prabhupada saying here, what kind of God is only zero? Because if we say God is, He's creating the material world, He's going to become like this piece of paper, became zero, right? In the spiritual world, the one is Purna. And if you take the whole one, it is still one. That they cannot understand, the poor brain. They think materially. If the one is complete, and if one is taken away, then it becomes zero. So they're thinking 1 minus 1 is 0. But we said 1 minus 1 is 1. It's Krishna. But these other people, these Mayavadis, you take something away, the world is taking it, and so it becomes zero. God becomes zero. But what kind of God is only zero? What kind of God is that? So they are applying their material thinking to understand God. What kind of God is only zero? Upanishad said, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Here remains the complete balance. If from the complete you take the complete remains. Right? Krishna minus everything is still Krishna. So 1 minus 1 is still 1. This is spiritual mathematics. This is Prabhupada talking to Professor Hopkins. He was a prominent scholar in Prabhupada's time. Prabhupada met with him. So these points are very difficult for materialistic people to understand. How can we get them to understand these kind of things? Sometimes speaking philosophy is not the best way. I took one course many years ago, when I was a brahmachari. I took one course over in Vrindavan. His Grace Rabindra Swarup Prabhu was teaching, and it was about defeating Mayavadi philosophy. And he impressed on us again and again. He said very difficult to convince people philosophically with arguments, but chanting of the holy name, nice prasadam, very powerful. And His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj also, he was instructed by Prabhupada about how to preach to the scientists. And he did it with great success, actually. He is very well regarded by so many Nobel Prize winners. And he described one time how he brought this big scientist. He was an astrophysicist to meet Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was talking to him, and Prabhupada was giving some arguments. And the man was listening, and he wasn't accepting, he wasn't rejecting, but he wasn't totally convinced, But then at one point, devotees brought in the Mahaprasadam. And there's a big plate, the Los Angeles temple, big Mahaprasadam, brought the whole thing into Prabhupada. And Prabhupada took the plate and pushed it towards the scientist. He said, "This is for you." And the scientist was, so he started to eat, he was eating and eating. And he's appreciating. And Prabhupada was talking casually to him about how, I like America. He said, the squirrels are different here from the squirrels in India. And the man, nice casual conversation. And then Prabhupada told Swarup Damodar Maharaj, take him to see the deities, and they went in the temple room, and the devotees were doing kirtan and that. And they came back again, and then there was another plate of prasadam. It was like eggplant balaram or something, And he was really, really enjoying the prasadam, And then he came again to meet Prabhupada, and next time he met Prabhupada, when Prabhupada would speak something, the scientists would start to give evidence to support what Prabhupada was saying, Before he was like kind of rejecting, but after eating all that prasadam, he was giving evidence to support everything Prabhupada was saying. So this is how you really preach to these kind of people, Just try to give them philosophy. You can argue with people a lot. The Kali Yuga, you can get nowhere. But if you can have a nice kirtan, sweet kirtan, some really good prasadam, it can really change their heart. Very powerful preaching, more than any words. So, anyway, we want to understand this philosophy. We do want to be familiar with these arguments and try to make them understood when possible. So Krishna expands millions of times. Still he's Krishna. Right? We know Krishna has so many expansions. He's there in Goloka. He's there in the Vaikuntha planets in so many different forms. He's Ananta Rup. So Prabhupada said, Purnam eva vashishyate. Eva vashishyate meaning he remains complete. He remains complete. Krishna is so full that even Krishna expands millions of times. Still, he's the same thing. Krishna. Right? We have to impress that on people's minds. You're not going to change Krishna. Even though everything comes from, he's still Krishna. We saw when Lord Brahma stole away all the cows and cowherd boys, Krishna could expand himself. Did it mean Krishna wasn't there? No, Krishna is still there. And he's there with all of his expansions as well. And so this is it. Inconceivable potency. Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. The Lord possesses inconceivable powers, inconceivable potency. He will eat everything, but keep everything. Another example of his completeness. Just like here, something being offered to Krishna, to God. He will eat it, but he will leave everything for you as prasadam. Thank goodness. That's his how? Purnasya purnamadaya purnam eva vasishyate. Even though everything emanates from him, he remains a complete balance. That is God's power. He will eat everything, but he will keep everything for you as prasadam. That is completeness. Prabhupada gave another example of complete nature of Krishna. He talked about the Los Angeles temple. He said, we are paying every month $2,000 rent for this property. It was a long time ago. They don't rent the property. They own the property, Watsika. But before Watsika, wherever they were renting $2,000 a month. He said, $2,000 a month we are spending for rent. $2,000 a month we have expenses. $4,000. Where is the money coming from? None of our devotees have job. He said, Krishna is providing. Krishna says, Yogakshema Vahamyaham. I carry what you lack, I preserve what you have. This is completeness. We experience the complete nature of Krishna every day in our lives. But we have to see, we have to be able to open our eyes and understand this nature of the Supreme Lord, how everything from him is so perfect, so well arranged. This is the complete nature. We just eat prasadam, we don't think about his mercy. We're not thinking how Krishna has eaten it. But when we take prasadam in pure consciousness, then we actually understand. Lord Chaitanya, when he's taking prasadam in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he could taste the saliva from the mouth of the Lord. You know, the nectar from the Lord's mouth. That is really honoring prasadam, when you have that kind of consciousness. Illusory representation of completeness. Yeah, we sometimes people, they make a show, they talk about feeling complete, you know, but it's actually all illusion, just based on the body. Prabhupada says, he writes from the invocation, we make efforts to utilize the resources of nature to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. Illusory representation of completeness cannot fully satisfy us. Can you think of that? Some examples of this? We make attempts to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. What's going on? What are people doing?
You want to have a nice house, a nice car.
Yeah, right, yeah. This is my home, my car, I have my family, I have my bank balance, my credit cards. I am happy. This is the illusion. But still, that illusory completeness cannot satisfy us. We still feel there's something lacking, there's something missing. We're thinking, no, I have everything. I have everything I need. I'm happy. I have my wardrobe, all my clothes. I have everything. I have my friends. I have my social life. I have my career. I have my education. Is it complete? No, we feel there's still something missing. We don't feel that satisfaction. It's not complete. Prabhupada gives the example, the hand. It may be a very nice hand, but if it's cut off from the body, what is the good? Just to have a nice hand, well decorated, but if it's cut off from the body, what is the good? So that is the illusory completeness. We ask you, sit with a partner in twos and threes and just reflect on experiences of incompleteness within your own life. We'll give you 5 minutes just to discuss with partner, and then we want to hear a little bit. Just discuss some feelings of incompleteness which you may have had in your own life. Okay, would somebody like to share with us your discussion? I'd like to, did you have some feeling of incompleteness? Yes, Prabhu.
Lots of us all go out studying for jobs and then we don't actually fulfill that job, or when we get into that job we don't even like that job.
Yeah, that's right. You think you're going to get, I'm really lucky I got this job, and then when you get into the job then you start to realize that, yeah, after a while, you know, you're really sick of it and you think, I've got to move on, I've got to find some other job. Yeah, that's very common, looking for work and you get the job and you think, oh, fantastic, I got this job, and then after a little while then it's so mundane, it's so boring, you can't get along with the people and so many problems. Okay, that's one kind of incompleteness.
Where we're always looking for some knowledge or different articles in life that we probably need, but we need more, or we need the update of this. There's always something missing, it seems. And we feel lonely.
Oh yeah, that's a common one. We feel lonely, I need to get married, you know, I should have a wife. Even when you're married, you still feel lonely. You think, I'm more lonely now than even before, you know. Maybe we need to have kids, you know.
I have no friends.
Yeah.
Loneliness in general.
Yeah. There was a great drama one year. It was His Holiness Bhakti Swami. Yeah, he put on all the, about loneliness. Was really good, and he had quotes from so many songs, only Roy Orbison, Only the Lonely, and all the lonely people, the Beatles, you know, and there's so many references about loneliness. Such a common thing. And people, we feel this incompleteness, and people think, I can't trust anybody. You get people like that as well. They can't trust anybody. I think my wife wants to poison me. She's stealing all my money, and you know, so many things. You know, and you end up just going crazy. You know, you can't trust anybody. So that kind of incompleteness that's there. It's very common in life. Feeling lonely and, oh, I haven't got enough education, I need to complete my education. You go on and you do more another degree and another one, you know, and you realize you're still incomplete, still lacking. Somebody else like to contribute something? Any other thing?
Maybe like we want to visit the world or see the world or learn languages.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got to travel more. If I traveled more, I feel better. You know, I feel better. You know, then you go to a new place. I have to learn the language. If I knew the language, I could fit in better. What a joke! Yeah, I mean, I see that actually many times. One country I'm preaching in Thailand. In Thailand, you've got different people from different countries. You've got, you know, some come from India, you've got some people from Burma, you've got people from Vietnam, you've got people from Cambodia, you've got Chinese, you've got all different people, you know, and then you've got the Thais, you know, and you're always thinking, you know, if I could speak Thai, maybe I could get along better with the Thais. But even the people who can speak Thai, they can't get along with the Thais. You know, even people who are born there, because they don't have that Thai body, because they're not actually Thai, very difficult for them to make friends with people who are actually Thai, the native people. The native people always look down on others as foreigners, you know. Like in China anyway, you're from another country, you're Wai-Goren. There's the Chinese and the Wai-Goren. Wai-Goren means from the foreign country, you know. So it's like it's like a dirty word to say somebody's a Wai-Goren, you know. It's like a dirty word, you know. They're a foreigner, you know. Very difficult to feel complete, to fit in. On the material platform, very difficult. We will always feel this incompleteness in all of our efforts, all of our situations. So this is a very common experience, especially you can see in this picture, this is a burning ghat, taking the body to the crematorium, you know, and you know, somebody's left the body. That's a very common time of incompleteness. You lose somebody very dear to you, very near and dear to you, and you lose them, and maybe suddenly, or maybe after a long time, but we will feel that incompleteness. There's a saying, isn't it, that on the way to the crematorium, everyone's a philosopher. And we talk about, you know, life has no meaning, life is worthless, what is this body, it's going to be finished soon, we all have to go there. But then on the way back from the crematorium, then, oh well, let's go, let's have a party, you know, let's drink. It's usually forgotten. Yeah. Okay? So, how can the invocation of Sri Ishopanishad help us make our lives complete? What is this invocation? Read it over again, reflect on it. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. All emanations from Him are perfectly equipped as the complete whole. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Even though so many complete units emanate from Him, still He remains the complete balance.
Maybe if we connect with the complete coach, we can become also complete.
Yes.
Everything we, any of our activities, if Krishna is in the picture, it becomes complete, and we become happy and complete.
Right. Yeah. Prabhupada talks about Krishna karma in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The final verse is there in the 11th chapter. Prabhupada writes about Krishna karma. Doing everything for Krishna. Feeling that connection, understanding that everything is going on, not by chance, but everything is arranged by Him.
By understanding that we are part of the whole, because sitting in completeness, we don't see the connection with the whole thing. Like we lose somebody here, for example, we think in terms of the body, but we think in terms of spirit and soul and beyond what we see, and then we feel connected to the whole. So there will be no feeling of incompleteness.
Okay. So we want to bring ourselves closer to this kind of consciousness of seeing everything in relation to Krishna.
Our body is weak, and if we see Krishna more, our spirit becomes stronger, so it will set the body to be more longevity.
Okay, the body is weak, but the spirit is strong. Huh?
Well, if we apply Krishna consciousness.
If we apply Krishna consciousness, then the body will become stronger. Then we'll have a better focus. Yeah, we want to keep this consciousness that everything from Krishna is perfect and complete. Seeing everything.
The eternal pardon person of Krishna. So they gave an example of it. Here it's like a screw of a big machine, and we are now separated from the machine. And again, when we connect to the machine, then we are our fellow.
Yeah, very good. Prabhupada gave that nice example. Just like this screw, some little screw. He said it's so important. If the screw is not there, the machine won't function. And that little screw, if you go and purchase it, will cost you a lot of money. They'll ask you $5-10 for one screw. But the screw is actually nothing. It's an insignificant little thing. It's useless outside of the machine. But without it being in the machine, without being connected in the machine does not function correctly. And so we're like that. As spirit souls, we're tiny parts of the Supreme. We're just like that little screw. And we're useless, we're hopeless, we're struggling, we're helpless. We're under the modes of nature. We're constantly being defeated by the material energy when we're separate from Krishna. But when we connect to Him, then we can do something. Then we can do very well. Then we can be useful.
Maybe a link with the first verse about everyone's quota, because in the material world we want more and more and more. We forget the idea that the principle that we're entitled for quota. Everybody is entitled to his quota. The animals, the human beings, and when we want more, then there's an imbalance in breeding.
Okay, so that's going into the next verse tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, quota, taking our quota. Prabhu?
The invitation should inspire us to see Krishna in a personal form. And visualizing and remembering Krishna in a personal form makes it much easier for us to always reflect on the fact that that form is the proprietor and owner of everything, including our own bodies. So with this cycle of visualizing in the form and remembrance of who is actually the proprietor of everything, it brings us a little bit closer to a service mentality.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the important point, that the service mentality should be there. We're thinking God if we want to think of Him as a person, it's not that we just want to try to meditate or think of His form or anything, but the actual real relationship is cultivated through the medium of service. And the idea of this invocation also is that will bring us to that idea that we will want to actually connect ourselves. How to connect with Him, not just by remembering. We're not so able to fix the mind and remember His form, but by service. If we actually take up some activities and do them in relation to Krishna, then that will be success. That will be for a real purification. Bye.
Doesn't a person who's doing devotional service never feel he's done enough? How can that relate to completeness? Like he never feels he's done enough for Krishna. He wants to do more and more and more until the very end.
Yeah, that's right. But that is completeness.
Yeah, materialist, he never feels satisfied because he's gained enough.
Yeah.
But for the devotee, the object of satisfying is different. So, I don't know how to put the question, but you get my...
I kind of appreciate your point that you're saying that the materialist, he's never satisfied. No matter how much he does, he's never satisfied. A devotee, is a devotee satisfied?
He's never satisfied. Like, he wants to serve Krishna.
Yeah.
He never wants to stop. He wants to do more and more. He never thinks I've done enough.
Right. That's definitely true. A devotee should think like that. But at the same time, when we're doing whatever we're doing, we get some pleasure from it. There has to be some pleasure there. That is the impetus to go on and do more, and to do more. Not that we think, I've done so much, I've done enough, I don't need to do any more. But the idea is that by doing some service, we do get some feeling, some satisfaction, and it gives us the impetus to go on and do more. That if I do more, maybe I'll get more satisfied. I'll be feeling more satisfaction, more appreciation for Krishna. Devotee will want, not that we will think I've done enough, I don't need to do any more. Devotee wants devotional service is continuous. He wants to go on and do it. But at the same time, there's some satisfaction. There has to be some pleasure there, because that is the impetus for every activity. If there is no pleasure, no satisfaction, why would we bother to do devotional service? So there is some pleasure there. But we know we're only tasting a drop of that pleasure. We're only getting a tiny taste, and we want to taste more. We want to go on and experience more. Isn't it? Anyway, let's just finish this here. Prabhupada says, here's the example. So long as we are attached to Krishna, just like a big machine, there's a small screw. The completeness of that small screw is to fit in the particular place. Then it has got value. And if it is out of touch of the machine, it has no value. So we're like that. If we're in touch with Krishna, we have some value. And without Krishna, we have no value. So we are complete units so long we are attached to Krishna. Otherwise, useless. Yeah, otherwise what are we doing? We're simply engaging in activities for the maintenance of the body, which is temporary. So, what did we cover today? We talked about the principle of the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on the basis of the statement, Om Purnamada. Personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. So, perfect and complete means it must include all levels of realization, of conception of the personality of Godhead. It will include Brahman, it will include Paramatma, it will include Bhagavan. There is form also there. So actual realization or perception of the Lord has to be complete. So this is the meaning of Om Purnamada, that the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. It includes everything within our experience and beyond it. The nature of the spiritual potencies of the Supreme Person with reference to Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Purnam Eva Vashishyate means what? Eva Vashishyate means what? Purna means complete. Eva Vashishyate means? What is remaining, right? What is remaining? So when we take everything away, he's still complete. Krishna is not diminished. He's not reduced in any way. You take everything away. If we go to your home, we go to your room, we take away all your bhoga, we take away all your money, all your mahaprasadam. Are you complete? No. Hey, come on. Yeah. How can I? We're not like, we don't have these kind of potencies. But Krishna can maintain everyone. We were saying he's maintaining all the temples. We hope. Yoga Kshema Bahamiyam, Krishna, pay the bills. Give us money, send money for the temple. All right. So everything coming from Krishna is complete. And Krishna is never reduced. Even though he's maintaining everything, it's still complete. Then, the nature of the phenomenal world, with examples, with reference to Purnamidam, that is complete. The nature of the phenomenal world. What was the nature of this world? Yeah? Yeah, we said everything is provided for the maintenance of this world. Everything is there to sustain the existence. Food is provided for everyone. Even the baby, when the baby is born, the baby cannot eat rice, cannot eat chapati. Just born. What is the baby going to eat? Nature arranges the milk to flow from the breast of the mother. That is nature's arrangement. The clouds carry water. Prabhupada writes, it's written in the Bhagavatam actually, but I think it's a description of autumn. And describes the clouds are like a big water tank on top of a building. You know, you have a big building, you have a multi-floor apartment building, and on the top they have the water tank. So the clouds are like these water tanks. They carry the water over, and the clouds come and they sit on the mountain and pour the water down the mountain. Nature's arrangement. Man has copied nature in designing their buildings. They're just copying what is already there in nature. The airplane design is copied from the birds. Everything, what we're doing, what we're achieving, we're just copying what has already been done in nature. And whose nature? We speak about nature, my nature, your nature, the nature of this world. Nature is feminine, right? Nature cannot give birth, a woman cannot give birth to a child on her own. There has to be a father. So material nature also has to have a husband. There has to be the father. And that is the Supreme Lord. And combination of nature with the Supreme Lord produces the living entities. So everything is there. There's the complete nature of the world. Then we talked about this feeling of incompleteness in our own life. That even you may have everything. Some of the richest people are the most unhappy people. Some of the people who seem to be the most successful, they've got everything. They've got the nice home and car and everything. And so many people running after them, and they're the most miserable. They're the most unhappy people. They just want to get away from the world. We discussed what can we draw from the invocation which could help to make our lives complete. And you were explaining how we want to connect ourselves, our activities in relation to the service of the Lord. And that way our life will be complete. So this is completeness. All services in this world, social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary, will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed with the complete whole. So this is the invocation mantra. We'll go on to speak about how we can dovetail with the complete whole. How we can do that tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions? Any final? Yes, Prabhu?
Maharaj, you said that 5 things are complete or permanent. Nature, time, the soul, super soul.
You're talking about the 5 topics which are in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Yeah.
How can you relate them with Ishopanishad?
Huh?
How can you relate them with Ishopanishad?
Well, I've never heard that these 5 things are complete. These are the 5 items which are discussed in the in the Bhagavad Gita. It said of the 5 items, 4 are eternal, and karma is not eternal. But Sri Ishopanishad is going to describe to us, introduce these things to us gradually. So tomorrow we will go on. We want to cover the first 3 mantras. Please look over. Yes?
Does Krishna become more happy when he sees his devotees coming back?
Does Krishna become more happy when he sees devotees coming back to him? Well, definitely. I mean, that's Krishna sends his devotees here. Krishna comes here himself, and his whole plan is how to reclaim us, how to bring us back to him. So certainly it's a great pleasure for Krishna when he sees us returning to him.
There is a sense of completeness and then more completeness and more completeness or less completeness.
Yeah, there's more like that. It's ever expanding. The ocean of completeness, ocean of unlimited bliss. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. Ever increasing ocean of bliss. Yes, certainly it's a dynamic situation. It's ever expanding. It's not static. It's not limited. That is the nature of spiritual realization. Abhay was talking about this. I think maybe you're referring to like that a devotee. Are we sad? Do we feel satisfied? Well, we feel satisfied to some extent. But if we're really satisfied, then we will want to do more. We won't think, I've done enough, now I'll stop. That wouldn't happen, Okay, I'm satisfied now, I've done what I want, now I can stop. But the real satisfaction is that we want to go on and do more. That if I'm getting this satisfaction from what I've done, if I could do more, I would get so much more satisfaction. So the satisfaction is ever expanding, increasing. Not that we think, okay, I did enough, that's it. I finished Bhakti-Shastri, it's enough, right? Don't get too fanatical. Put the books. The idea is once you do the Bhakti-Shastri, you go and teach the Bhakti-Shastri. That's the idea. All of you, after you've studied Bhakti-Shastri, what you've learned, then you go and teach it. And after you've taught it 3 or 4 times, then you start to know it. Yeah, this is actually the idea of Bhakti-Shastri, that it will create the mood among devotees that you want to go and preach more. And we encourage all of you, if you can, we have also teacher training course. If you have the time, you may like to attend the teacher training course, and you can also, they give you some ideas about how to present Bhakti-Shastri and how we can do the preaching. But even if you don't take the teacher training course, still, try to preach. Try to use this knowledge, what you've learned here, and you start giving it to others. You start sharing it. So that then you can really get to know it. And just doing Bhakti-Shastri and write some essays and do that's not the real. The real thing is when you start teaching it, presenting it to others. Then you will start to appreciate more. Okay? Alright, so we will stop here. Tomorrow we will continue. Hare Krishna.
So Hare Krishna, we are ending with day 2 of the session of Shri Ishopanishad, and this includes both the session of the day, first part and second half, in the one recording of Shri Ishopanishad by His Holiness Bhakti-Vinashak Narsingh Swami Maharaj on 21st of January 2014. Hare Krishna.